Welcome to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that
had a beard and nipples. I can't stand you so much. I can't. But
you gotta have them reflexes.
Vince McMahon claims he has retired, and that might be a good thing. Welcome in to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, I mean always, he means always, she means always, they mean always, you mean always, an instant classic.
Danny Dog! Hi, Jake.
We will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh yeah. Welcome to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that
had a beard and nipples. I can't stand you. I really can't. What's going on?
Because Vince McMahon does not have a beard and has no beard.
What's going on, y'all? DJ here, Casey over there, Adam, and Rabbit Jones from the Third Perspective Podcast joining us tonight. A little special guest. Since Justin didn't want to show up, so we had to find somebody. No, we playing. But for real, what's going on with y'all, man? We got this crazy news day, and then they tricked me on the Brock Lesnar news because I was actually watching SmackDown for once, and he showed up. And kudos, I will say that. Kudos. But first things first. The first news that came out today was that Vince McMahon supposedly, possibly, maybe because it's wrestling, retired. He posted it on Twitter, and if you can believe that. There's a lot of stuff swirling around right now with
wait. You mean to tell me someone tweets something and it's not true?
I mean, every once in a while, it might not be a little bit true.
Sir, there's.
You're right. It might not be a little bit true. It's all true, baby. It's all true.
It's all true, baby. That's right.
And then the funny part is, I heard after this that Brock had got mad and he had walked out, and then he shows up on SmackDown. And like I said, kudos to every wrestling article writer who fed into that, so I could firmly believe that Brock Lesnar was highly upset that Vince McMahon retired, and then he showed up on SmackDown, and I was excited because I was like, whoa, it's Brock. Thought he was gone. Thought he was out of there. Thought he was like, forget this. Nah, not at all, but okay. I was cool with it. But topic conversation. I'm gonna go on the front of, first off, do you think it's true? Do you think it's not? Because Vince, wrestling, it's just weird sometimes, right? Like people retire all the time. They come back all the time. Flair was retired 8 times already, and he got one more match coming up. So now there's a little bit more controversy going on with this one, right? This may have been more of a little forceful push, step down, retirement. Let me slide out of here real quick. No pun intended. My thing is, Vince, I think it's true. I think with everything going on, going around, all the controversy, the hush money, all of that, I think it's true. On the surface, right? I think it's true. I think Vince is trying to slide out the back door. He's trying not to make too much out of it.
That's also probably not the best term to use.
I don't know if there's going to be any good terms to use for this particular. But
I mean, I'm just saying the Bella twins is the next biography, and who is the Bella's father-in-law?
As we found out who the wrestlers were, have they they disclosed who the wrestlers were?
No, the only thing I saw something today, and I'm sure Adam and Casey have probably seen it since they listened to Jim Cornette's podcast too. I think they talked about it in an episode or something. I saw an article that mentioned Jim Cornette, so they didn't that mentioned all the people, because it was a particular superstar who I know for a fact left in 2005. So they was trying to figure out who left in 2005 that kind of dropped off. I don't know. I saw the list of names.
First of all, it's going to have to be somebody that was dead for a minute they got comfortable with off the break.
Yeah.
So somebody that was dead.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it got to be somebody that was like, I don't know. Who was on the 2005 roster?
I got terms, and obviously not any of the big players, whatever. But I forget the names right offhand. Whatever but like, not that it wasn't a nobody, but it wasn't, it wasn't Cena, it wasn't Batista, it wasn't any of them.
No, I'm talking about supposedly the sexual harassment. So
gotcha. No, like the name bandied about, like that I've heard like the most of is Jackie Gayda. Which is funny because Charlie Haas would have beaten the shit out of some people.
Oh, so they did name some of the girls.
Yeah, there's a list on. I saw a list somewhere, like trying to figure out who it was. I might have it on my phone somewhere. I'll send it to you.
You said that somebody was trying to just break it down, trying to figure out who left, who was there, and all that stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But first things first, do y'all think he's really retired? Let's go to Casey. What you think? Because I mean, this is wrestling, and LOL.
That's true.
Retirements.
That's true.
I don't think he's retired because Vince and one.
Can't hear you, bud.
Is it me? Oh.
What's that?
There we go.
There we go.
I know what y'all talking about.
I don't think he did anything. I think literally he said "What's up" as loud as he could, and then
you were doing your best Funaki impression.
Indeed, I do a pretty damn good Funaki impression. First of all, motherfucker. Second of all, I don't know because what would Vince do if he retired? Like, we know Vince.
No bullshit.
Vince is hands-on, and I don't mean like that. I mean like with
that wasn't even funny.
With the company, like he has to be in control of everything. Shut the hell up, DJ.
But is that the reason why the joint ain't the kind of product that it should be?
Well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just like, Vince is a control freak. Vince has to be in control. Yeah. So, like, if he retires, what is he going to do? What is he going to do? Like, because he has to have, like...
It's been his life for so long, right? Like,
yeah. Well, even before that, he's the kind of guy who he has to have something to do. He has to be, like, doing something.
True.
So it's like...
I don't know.
He's not the kind of person who's just going to retire and then go sit on a beach and relax. He's always going to be doing something. So I don't see him, unless something really is going on that we don't know, I don't see him retiring on his own. I think if he is retiring, there is something going on. There's something big.
I mean,
that's what, and the crazy part is, I thought about that too. I was like, do we not know Vince is like dying or something, and he gonna die in the next couple of days or something crazy like that? Because like I always thought Vince would die like literally in the ring, like literally like in Gorilla.
He would die in the ring. He wouldn't retire. He just keel over in the ring, like.
But you gotta realize he do have these sexual harassment charges. He paying girls off. This is CEO of a company. You got to get rid of that person.
But I feel like, yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. Like I feel like either like something's up with him health wise, or the allegations are so serious. He don't want to, like. I mean, he's been through enough controversy when it comes to WWE to begin with. Exactly. Does he not want to have this be just another stain on WWE? Especially considering, you got to remember, WWE is not what WWE was, when it was WWF, before it became, the publicly traded company and everything. Right. Like, WWE, they got sponsorships, they got, everything for the kids, be a star, all these things. Like, it might just be like he might be, what's the saying? Like, you know,
The CEO can't be mixed up in all that
addition by subtraction. Like, he might be trying to like save WWE by not having his controversy all over everything. Because I mean,
but again, I think Vince is so headstrong that I think something is forcing him out. If
the people on the board.
That would be Nick Khan.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is I don't think he's doing this this isn't his choice, is what I'm saying.
No.
This
exactly.
is in no way,
I can agree with that.
This is in no way Vince McMahon's choice. Something is forcing his hand on this because he is not just going to step down. He is not that kind of person. So one, it's like, okay, what is going on? Are we going to find out? But still, what the fuck does Vince do now? I need to know. I need
he's still going to have very much a say in what goes on creatively, and
that's why I'm saying like he's not retiring. He's retiring.
Yeah, I mean Patterson retired, you know, a handful of times, and DJ, I'll take your statement about Flair in a different regards, because Flair, that was in the ring. We're talking about a guy that, yes, he was a character on TV. Yes, he's wrestled matches, but this is the dawn of wrestling ownership. Like he created this empire, and everybody is smart now. We know who's above him. It's those board members, but particularly Nick Khan. It's Nick Khan, Vince, and then whoever's on that board. But this is what happens when you this is why wrestling should have never have gone corporate. Yes, it gave more exposure for everybody on national television and this, that, and the other. But now that he has to answer to that, this is no different than what was happening with Gruden dating back with the Washington football team and Dan Snyder, and back when he was in Tampa and this, that, and the other. You can't have that lingering because that's all anybody's going to talk about. Even with him going away, it's still going to be talked about, but it is an addition by subtraction thing.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of agree with Casey too. Like, you know, Casey was talking about like, you know, Vince wouldn't necessarily do this on his own. And now that I think about it, I think from what I know of Vince, and not to know him personally, but from what I know of Vince, he's kind of an egomaniac, right? Like what? Vince is the type of guy who probably feels like, and I would have got away with it, pal. Right? Like he probably literally we talked about this a couple weeks ago or like a week or so ago. And remember I said, I think he's gonna get away with it because he's Vince, right? He's a powerful white male. He's Vince, right? He's gonna get away with it.
He got away with it though. You think he got away with it?
Not in this culture.
Yeah, and I mean, and that was my thing. Like I was like, I don't, you know, for me, I was sitting here thinking, I don't know, but I think like in Vince's head at least, he's like, you know what, you know, did I really do anything wrong? Right? I'm Vince McMahon. You know, I mean, you know,
like the Trump thing. Trump with the same feeling. Like, does that
ding,
really
ding,
wrong?
ding.
Like he had that same feeling, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that was my thing. Like,
guess who his best buddy is? I'm just saying. You say, well, goddamn pal, he said it in that auto recording. I thought that was just legal for everybody, just to grab him.
I know he was back there doing that in backstage for show back in the 80s and 70s.
Because that's the thing. It's like, you know, it wasn't to Linda.
Exactly. What did do, Jay?
What's up, Jay? For the audio people, Jay is from the Third Perspective podcast too. We about to have I think if Rabbit's other boy come on, we're gonna have a 6-man tag. You know, I think we ready for that.
No,
but like I don't know.
Vince, you think he got away with it, but you can't.
No, I don't think he got away with it. I think his ego tells him that he's going to. Right? Like, I got you. I think his ego tells him, well, I didn't do anything wrong.
I got you.
You know,
Jericho think, you know, like you saw what Jericho said. I think I shared it to you guys where he kind of kind of condemned it, but still kind of said that Vince was innocent or whatever. Like, he didn't really do anything illegal. It's like, no, Chris, you acknowledge it by saying, like, I'm not Vince McMahon. I'm not putting not be put in his shoes. If it were me, I would not be surprised if he was let go or they kind of nudged him out the door, because this is a PR nightmare.
Hell yeah.
That's all this is.
How much he spent? 12
and
million?
I think too, like,
and it came out that it was 12, not 3 million. So I'm like, you can't bat an eye to that.
No,
we gotta remember too, like, WWE is probably bigger than it's ever been, ironically enough, right? Like, even at the kind of behoovement of the product and how bad the product has been, in terms of like sales and all of that, like in terms of international sales and going to Saudi Arabia and making ridiculous money but putting on bad shows. No, like, they're probably making more money than they really know what to do with. So it's like, kind of like you said, it's a PR nightmare. It's not something that WWE wants, weighing over their head. So Nick Khan probably stepped in, even though I don't even necessarily trust Nick Khan's judgment when it comes to the business. I don't trust his judgment, but I mean, in terms of like WWE and making money, I'm sure he has pretty good judgment on that. So I don't know. Jay, you want to come in here? What you think? My first question was like, do we really feel like Vince is retiring? Like, is this for real? And we kind of got on a discussion about how he was kind of pushed out of the door because, I mean, WWE can't have this over their head.
Hell no.
There's two things. WWE can't have this over their head, and that Vince was pretty much holding WWE back. Since all this thing blew up last week, I heard they changed their product from PG finally. That shit is awful. To at least a little bit of an edgier product. Since this whole thing that blew up. Maybe they could generate more audiences at this point in time. And like my man said, it is a PR nightmare. But Vince been there, pretty much was holding WWE back. To me, it was.
Yeah, you kind of brought up my next point. We're gonna bring Tony in. Is he from your podcast too, Rabbit? Tony, introduce yourself real quick for everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tony, the number one soul brother. Pleasure to join y'all this evening.
Of course, yeah. We're glad you came by. Welcome. So, I mean, our first thought was kind of, is this whole Vince McMahon retirement real? Because it's wrestling and retirements, right? I have a second point, but I want to hear your thoughts on that first. Like, is this for real? Was he forced out of the door? Like, what's going on here?
Well, this Vince, so you never know if this could be an angle or not. So, but I'm thinking, I really think that with all the stuff that's going on recently, I think Vince was forced out the door, but I don't think it's permanent. As Vince, he'll be back. He could be back at any time. So, you let Stephanie and Triple H run things for a minute, and at some point he'll be back because they not Vince. They don't have the mind Vince got. So I think in a while, when all this other stuff clear up and die down, we're gonna see Vince again.
I mean, we've been talking about it. Like, it feel like he would die in the ring, right? Like, that would be his final resting place. So it's possible.
Right. To quote Vince McMahon on the limousine angle where he wanted to take time off of the television, he said, "I can't be on TV if I'm dead."
Right.
Unfortunately, though, a week later the Benoit thing happened, and they kind of had to backtrack that. But nonetheless,
But one
Right.
thing
That angle would have went on through if the Benoit situation hadn't
Yes.
popped up at the time.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, but
I don't know, but Tony made a good point, right? But he got the best wrestling mind, but where that mind is at 76, we don't know. You feel me?
I mean, I think we've seen where it is at 76. Unfortunately, 77.
We know it's going around touching the ladies in the back.
But you remember when
Vince, and then there's everybody else.
But you remember he had them angles where he was harassing females.
Now we talking about. We talking about earlier.
Like he had one of them like a dog and shit.
Yeah, you know, when he had the angle with Trish Stratus, hey, I thought he was going there for real.
Oh God, that's so uncomfortable to watch.
You think Trish probably sued him?
Yeah, he had her bark like a dog and shit.
Well, and then I remember I was listening to Jim Cornette about this today or something, and he was kind of talking about, like, you know, it felt like Vince was, you know, feeling himself a little bit, right? Like you know,
he was.
That's when that's when WWE was kind of at its biggest, and Vince was like, you know, I can do what I want. I'm Vince McMahon, you know, like that's Vince's thing.
He started feeling himself when he bought WCW out at ECW.
No, Vince been feeling himself long time before that. Vince was feeling himself when he bought all the territories out.
Yep.
Vince bought out all the smaller territories back in his day, and when he became, I mean, he was numero uno. You know,
you remember they had all those lawsuits because he was trying to have a monopoly at the time, and they were trying to stop that. He was getting too many products.
Yeah. He was doing the exact opposite of what his dad. Why his dad didn't want him in the business, because he knew he had that mindset.
Yeah, and I mean, shoot, you know, I feel like, you know, it was kind of talking about too, just to fill everybody in. Vince's mindset is kind of like, I can get through whatever. You know, he's been through all these controversies, and has it really tarnished WWE's reputation like that? Not really.
But it's just not.
It hasn't tarnished his reputation because we don't know what's real and what's not. You know, and a lot of the things that's real, you know, they put in the storyline. So you never know where the line is. With what's real, what's a storyline, what's an angle. So, you know, plus Vince is numero uno. You had to make it to the WWE, you know, you made it to the pinnacle. Especially if you was one of the top guys.
Yeah.
Well, if you start thinking back in 2005, do you have any idea of what girl could it be he touched or something?
I think it's Trish.
That's why I had a mind frame. Could be Trish.
My understanding is several of them, so it could be.
I think Trish won though.
Y'all remember Jackie Gator?
Jackie.
Yeah.
She won. I think she won one of the Tough Enough. One of the Tough Enoughs, and was married to Charlie Haas.
She was released in 2005.
I thought y'all were talking about the Jackie that beat up Disco Inferno.
Oh, you talking about Jacqueline?
That's Jacqueline, yeah. Hey, Disco Inferno, that was my man.
Man, I couldn't stand Disco Inferno.
Don't do it.
In the words of Ron Simmons, she was unfuckwithable.
You know? That was my man, boy. What you talking about, man? Disco Inferno, boy. You tripping? Yeah. Disco fever.
So
that was funny when they him and Alex Wright became partners. They coming out dancing.
That was funny, yeah.
Yeah, they was the dancing fools.
So I guess my next question for y'all would be, how do we feel WWE stands? So let's just say Vince is done. He's like, you know, or they're pushing him out the door. They're done with him, right? How do you feel WWE stands without Vince at this point right now? Like not necessarily what he's done for the business. We know, we know Vince's legacy. We know Vince's track record. over the past about 10 to 15 years been a little bit suspect. But I mean, if I'm looking at it right, with putting Triple H back in his little EVP talent relations role, if they let Triple H head creative, we might get some actually good wrestling for once, because Triple H is the reason behind NXT, and NXT is everything we wanted the main roster to be.
My thinking is in the next year, AEW will catch up with WWE.
The fact that WWE is opening up the forbidden door a little bit and letting some AEW stars cross over, as well as TNA.
But here's the thing though. Because let's be honest, AEW can't hold a candle to what NXT was doing at its peak.
Nah.
That's the thing.
I haven't watched, so I can't.
If you book WWE, and obviously you can't mirror it, right? But like, if they book it in that style, there's actually consistent booking, decent booking, something that people actually want to watch. I feel like I don't think AEW has a chance the way they book right now.
Well, that's the problem. Is they need to first of all get good booking, keep it consistent, and not depend solely on the same 5 guys.
Yeah.
Like, how long has Kenny Omega been gone and everyone's still only, like, all they care about is, oh, when's Kenny coming back? When's Kenny coming back? You have all this talent that you don't know what to do with. You have 3 you can't book. And you're worried about Kenny Omega? How about worry about the shows that you have right now and booking them, and then worry about Kenny later? You know, and that's not even me not liking Kenny Omega for various reasons. That's like, bro.
Without Vince,
what's that?
I would say without Vince, which we know Vince is the brain. Without Vince, this is the time for AEW to step it up.
You don't think Triple H could outbook Tony Khan?
I think he could book it. Tony Khan new to the game, but
Triple H was already head of talent relations, and they took him out that side.
I could outbook Tony Khan.
He basically got the spot back because Stephanie is co-CEO now, and he's married to Stephanie, which is why he got most of his spots anyway. You know.
Again, y'all gotta remember though.
Nepotism is a good thing.
Y'all gotta remember NXT and all that. Once you get on the stage of Monday Night Raw and all that, it's different sponsors, different This is different big stage here. Different people responsible for different shit now. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
But AEW has proved that you can do it. You just gotta do it right.
They ain't got the same sponsor.
That's like
WWE got talent. But who is the talent they pushing? The only talent that they really pushing at this time is Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Brock when he decided to wrestle. That's the only talent they really pushing. Everybody else not getting pushed like that.
They trying to push Theory.
See,
but Theory's not ready.
I think if they actually, if Vince or if Triple H takes over, I think he can. I don't think it'll be immediate. It'll take a little bit, but I think he can definitely outbook Tony Khan and AEW because one, Tony Khan is not a promoter. Tony Khan is not a booker. Tony Khan is a mark with money. That's it. That is it. And we have to remember that AEW wrestlers, AEW management, whatever, they don't even listen to the veterans that they have. Like, JR was trying to tell these young guys not to do certain things because it doesn't work, because it doesn't make sense. Did they listen to him and he has like 40 years experience? No, they didn't listen to him. So it's like when you start listening to guys who know what they're doing, then maybe, you'll get better booking. Maybe you'll be able to compete. But I think sooner Triple H is going to be able to outbook because he has that wrestling mind. Yes, he was a wrestler, but he's been around it long enough. He knows what the fans want. He knows how to book. He knows psychology. He knows how to put a storyline and a match together that's going to make sense.
Yeah.
Triple H has dipped his toes in every pool, so he knows so many things that I think like is that probably Tony Khan doesn't, and that's no offense to Tony Khan. Tony Khan's inexperienced, right? I mean, Triple H has booked the show. He's oversaw a show. He's been in the ring, right? I
don't think that means you can book a show though. Just because you've been in the ring and all that. I mean, you gotta remember.
NXT was the best booking we've seen in 15 years.
The best booking in wrestling history are people that didn't never wrestle at all, ever. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think that's it. You just have a better mind and want to do things different from what's already being done. That's how what's the name came? Russo, when he came on the scene. He just want to do things different. He was never wrestling that. You know what I'm saying? He knew enough wrestling when he can make matches. Now,
but he was trash at the end of WCW.
It was wild matches. Yeah.
Russo's some trash.
He's not put on entertainment.
He was trash at WCW.
But I think Triple H got a more sane mind though than Russo does, right? I mean, Russo is out there. Russo want to wrestle. So.
He wasn't a wrestler, so he don't know some of the guidelines as a wrestler. That's true. But he put on entertain the show.
But also, I think Triple H will have a team working with him. It's not gonna be like Vince, where Vince has the final say in everything. Doesn't matter. It has to go through Vince. I think Triple H would be like, okay, here's my idea. What do you think? Well, let's bring somebody else in. Okay, maybe I don't understand this storyline, this booking. Let's bring somebody else in that's going to understand it. So I think that'll help. But then there's Tony, who doesn't understand the business enough to listen to people. I think Triple H will have people to work with, to work off of. It's not just going to be him. He's not gonna go the Vince route and just completely, take over. He's gonna have people to kind of work with.
Yeah. Rabbit, I know you were saying you gotta head out, so be sure you let everybody know where they can see you, give you final thoughts and everything.
Most definitely. But overall, I just think wrestling will be better if you take McMahon out. Even though his mind is the best wrestling mind out there, he's just not one of the. Right now in 2022 is one of the people that can take wrestling further into 2050. You see what I'm saying? It's just you got to find another mind.
I agree with you, but I agree in a different way. I think with Vince gone, you're going to get back to some resemblance of what you had in the 80s. And you had the territories. When you had NWA, you had Mid-South, you had World Class, and you had WWF. Without Vince, some of the wrestlers, they're gonna be able to go to different territories, and some of them are gonna blow up in other territories because you don't know who Triple H and Stephanie wants to push and who they want to push out. So it could be big changes coming in store for WWE.
Hey, but catch your boys on Third Perspective Podcast. That's Sundays and Wednesdays for sure. Every Tuesday night you catch the SVP podcast, you know what I'm saying? Especially you can catch the in 15 minutes live. You know what I'm saying, Doc? I appreciate you, DJ.
Yeah, appreciate y'all for coming by. You know what I'm So, reeling it back in real quick. Overall, I feel like going back to the initial question, right? Is WWE better with Vince right now or better without Vince? I mean, we've heard Vince is out of touch. We've heard, Vince is that, right? And with that being said, I think Triple H can. I think Triple H put in the right role I think is perfect for WWE, right? Like I almost think, and going back to what Casey said, right? Casey said Vince is a control freak, right? Vince wants to be in control at all times. I got a feeling Vince probably didn't like the way that Triple H was out booking him with NXT, so he pulled him off the roll because he was spreading himself too thin to where Vince couldn't, he couldn't oversee NXT too because he got all these shows that he got to try to be a part of at all times. So I think that's got a lot to do with it too, like the fact that Vince does want to be in control, but at the same time, Triple H was not only out booking him, but at the same time he was taking a little bit of that control away. So y'all got anything else?
To me, the fact that Vince is gonna be gone, I could see if he was behind the scenes doing something, but completely retire, maybe it might be, what's best for WWE. Because you never know. Like right now, AEW has a pretty good product. Maybe not as great as WWE, but the fact of the matter is, like, they booking is kind of iffy. Like last week, they had Kevin Gates on there, slapping somebody, which is original. Everybody, had an angle where the celebrity hit somebody,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's kind of my struggle. I mean, I do like AEW. I've been to AEW live, right? I had a lot of fun. One of my favorite shows I've been to in quite some time. And that don't mean that's the only show I went to in the past year. But I mean, because really I went to SmackDown and then I turned around and went to AEW like a couple weeks later. And I mean, I had a lot of fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun at both of them, but I mean, AEW just felt a little different. But I think at the same time, like what we saw with Triple H and the way he booked NXT, I think is important when we look at the direction of where WWE is going to go post Vince. And that's not even like right at this moment, right? We're talking about 5-10 years from now, when Vince is actually kind of like, out of the way. Maybe, okay, well, Vince is what, 77? It would probably live to be 100. Anyway,
right.
So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think Triple H. Well, if we can get similar booking, you take the booking of NXT, the star power of what Raw and SmackDown has, right? Even the guys who aren't stars are still bigger stars than we think they are, or have the capabilities of being bigger stars. So, I think there is a big opportunity for WWE to kind of reset and get to where they need to get. I don't think sponsors are necessarily against the sport of wrestling, right? Because I mean, why would you sponsor? That's like sponsoring basketball, but you don't want them to do anything but dribble around center court. Like, I don't think they're against the concept of wrestling as what it is, but I think there's always been this kind of push, back and forth on, what's appropriate, like what can we say now, what can we do now, how edgy can we get with this, right? Like how realistic per se can we go with this? And I think that's a big deal. But I mean, I think with Triple H's ability to book a show, the fact that he's done a little bit of everything, I think could be huge for WWE in the future.
Yeah, because like I said, they already made some changes since this whole thing did. I know they were sitting at PG era, like We need to get the shit. We gotta get the fuck out of this era. This era is fucking us up. Like we losing money out of this.
And
People they sat around PG era so long where it's like people was like, fuck it.
yeah, and I mean, if PG was the problem, right? Let's not forget
PG definitely was the problem.
Triple H booked a pretty darn good show during the PG era, right? Like NXT was still PG. NXT still had to follow those same guidelines. They just changed a little bit of the style of what we were watching. They gave us what we wanted for once, right? Instead of what they thought we wanted, right? You know what they thought we wanted. They gave us what we wanted.
They gave us a lot of wrestling and a little bit of talking.
Yeah.
Outside of Raw and SmackDown, people just sit there for about 40 minutes talking. I mean, they did that at WWE, but then you had some action between it. Mm-hmm. Like somebody getting hit in the head with a mic or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I hope this is I hope this could be a good thing for WWE. I mean, we talked a lot about Vince and, you know, where his mind is right now on certain things, and the fact that he's got to, you know, you come up with a good idea, he's got to have the last say on it. It might be good for him to not have the last say for a little bit.
Well, I mean, I think we gotta wait and see what happens. You know, we can't just assume that because it's going out of the PG era, going back to TV 14, that it's gonna be great. It could fucking bomb, right? Look, I think of it as like, you know, think of it like the NFL, right? You get this star quarterback or this star wide receiver, and you're like, oh man, you know, this is gonna be our year. This is gonna be our year. And then they bomb for whatever reason. Either they're not used to the NFL way of play, the scheme, whatever. You can't just be like, oh, this is definitely gonna work. You just have to wait and see. Also, another thing that I think a lot of us aren't thinking about, and this is because, you know, obviously the three of us are older. We remember the Attitude Era. We remember before, you know, the PG era. The PG era started in 2008. So it's been going on for 14 years, something like that. So there are some kids who grew up in the PG era. That's all they know. And some of them, like a lot of the younger the kids that age, this is all they know. They don't really know what it was like, so they're kind of used to it. Where, and I could say the same thing, you know, for me when I was around that age, when I was like, you know, 13, 14, I loved the Attitude Era, but I'm sure people that were older than me that grew up, you know, in, you know, the Golden Era, or, you know, eras before that, were probably like, you have no idea what you're missing. This was the real good stuff. This was, it's all perspective. You kind of. So anyway, I think in the long run, we just have to wait and see what happens. We have to see, because one, I don't want it to get too edgy. I don't want it to be like the Attitude Era, because even looking back now, the Attitude Era wasn't great. It was more shock value and, oh my God, did you see what happened? You got to tune in. There wasn't like there, and there were good matches. Don't get me wrong, and there were good wrestlers, but a lot of it was basically Jerry Springer in a wrestling ring, you know. And I don't want it to be that. I want it to be edgy, yeah, you know, give a little bit of color here and there, you know, let them be themselves more on promos and stuff, but don't let every match be a bloodbath. Don't just say, you know, oh, we can curse now, so don't just do it just for the sake of doing it, because then you start to look like, you know, a backyard fed with like untrained guys who just want to say fuck you and, like, you know, just because they can. So there's still going to be that fine line of like, let's take it over that line, but not too far to where it's just trash.
I agree with you.
I hate when you do that, DJ. I
Well,
say a whole good point, and then all you go with, yeah.
Just like Casey said, right? It's like that's how we're supposed to do it, right? No, but like my thing on that too, I think it's like you said, trying to find like what is the perfect balance. What is the perfect balance? Yeah, that common ground between what we saw, not the trashiness of the Attitude Era, but that little bit of edginess with that little bit, like, and I guess kind of what we want to see is like we just want to see the realism of it, right? We want to be taken away from this is too scripted, to this, to that. Like we want to see like the creativity of what wrestling can be, right? We want to see the great storylines of what wrestling can be, not the trashy storylines of what wrestling can be. Not Claire Lynch, not Katie Vick, right? We want to see, right? I'm the best wrestler. You're the best wrestler. All right, now fight. Now, obviously, there's a little bit more that goes in between that, right? But like, it ain't got to be I'm the best wrestler. You're the best wrestler. Oh yeah, insert a fair angle here, because a fair.
It seemed like this whole thing about the Vince McMahon and Triple H, I'm sitting here thinking about it. It fell into CM Punk's trap when he used to do them pipe bombs. Everything he just said, it's like pretty much is shitting on Vince McMahon's lap now. Because remember, it was a lot of shit that CM Punk was saying at the time. And he's saying that the product, people ain't trying to. And then, people fell in line and said the same thing. Or, they sitting in WWE and they tolerating it. And they not. It seemed like they not going anywhere.
Yep.
It just felt like completely in Vince McMahon's lap, and it's pretty much what I'm saying. The chickens come home to roost, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think too, like that's the one thing about AEW that I think sometimes doesn't get enough credit. They may not be doing everything perfectly, but they got to be doing something right, because even the most professional of professionals are signing with AEW. CM Punk literally came back to wrestling for AEW, not for WWE. Cesaro left, and I mean, I think the money is a part of it. Yes, the fact that they have the funds to pay these guys, but also there's a lot of guys who are passionate about wrestling more so than about the money. That see at least potential in AEW. It may not be that they're the finished gift wrapped Christmas present under the tree, but at the same time they at least see it's a note in the phone, right? It's a note in the phone to get ready for Christmas, to be ready to be everything that I think we want it to be. Of course there's some inconsistencies, but I think AEW's got to be doing something right to be able to sign all of these guys that they actually want to sign with them. And I mean, yes, the money does play a role. But I think AEW, at least their initial impact on the business is, worth a little bit of credit in their regard. I think. I think. But any final thoughts? Anything else? Nothing. Well, as always, you can watch us on YouTube, watch us on Facebook. We got a TikTok. We post some stuff on there from time to the times. Literally, probably the last video is me, I'm sure. But anyway, that will not to be stated. Listen to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, etc. And be sure to subscribe too if you are watching on YouTube. Be sure to like if you're watching on Facebook. Be sure to share wherever you are. Y'all remember what I said back in the day? You can take the shoe, you put the nail in the shoe, you put the note, the nail, you throw the shoe. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean. If y'all OGs, y'all get it. Y'all understand. Okay, Casey don't
Nobody
understand.
ever understood what you meant.
Casey is an OG and he'll understand. So maybe I wasn't making sense. But anyway, share the video. That's the long story short.
That makes less sense than the New Day under the table.
But Jay, real quick, where can they find you at? You know, if they want to hear more of the thoughts of the OnlyFans Jay, besides OnlyFans.com, where can they find you?
You can find me on two platforms. Every now and then, be a special co-host for HPV, View Politics, and Third Perspective Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, Google, Apple, YouTube, everywhere.
So I mean, I would say, so the Third Perspective Podcast, Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, we're Googleable, okay? We all are Googleable. So make sure you hit that Google and you type it in, you press the Google button. Yeah, the Google.
Yeah.
I feel like we should make that a thing. The Google button. The Google button. Let's go. We got the Twitter machine, the Google button. All right, we got this. Anyway, I'm trademarking that. It's gonna make me a lot of money one day. As always, hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure y'all go check us out on the Google button, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Until